Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Four Verticals podcast. Yes, I know I'm late on this week's episode, but better late than never is what the people say. So yeah, you're getting this episode on Monday, and I should, keyword should, have an episode out Friday, because why not? I definitely wanted to get an episode out because there's a lot of shit that just happened within the past few days that I want to talk about. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about it. So before we start this episode, we have an update on Damar Hamlin per himself. He tweeted, as well as the NFL tweeted and other news outlets, tweeted that he has been discharged from the hospital. He is headed to his home in Buffalo, and everything seems to be going well. So just wanted to update you guys on that. Obviously, we all know that the scary injury happened between him and the Bengals game, and he has, I don't know if he's fully recovered from that, but he has recovered and he's healthy enough to go back home to his home in Buffalo. So he will continue to be in my thoughts. Hopefully he can make a full recovery from his injury, and that's all I have to say on that situation. Glad we can update that with some positive energy, but that's not all we have to get into this week. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First off, before we do anything about the playoffs and all of that, yes, I know we're gonna talk about it. Let's recap NFL Week 18. Now, if you guys watched last episode, you will know that there were a few playoff scenarios that still had to play out. That did catch a little bit of a hiccup in the pre-planned notions of everything because of the Bills-Bengals game that was postponed. But to wrap everything up, I don't think that there are going to be any conflicts with any playoff games or anything like that. But to recap Week 18, the Chiefs secured the 1 seed by beating the the Las Vegas Raiders. Damn, they ain't been Oakland Raiders in like 3 seasons. Come on, catch up, Maurice. What else happened? The Dolphins, they secured their playoff spot with a win over the Jets, a 6-11 win, by the way, so a very low scoring game. What else happened? The Seattle Seahawks, they came out on top against the Los Angeles Rams, which would seal their playoff position as long as the Lions beat the Packers, in which they did. So the Lions eliminated the Packers from playoff contention, and that means that last spot will go to the Seattle Seahawks. So those are all of the meaningful Week 18 things that happened. There's not. The Vikings beat the Bears, which in and of itself doesn't mean anything, but the Texans beat the Colts 32-31, which means their final record sits at 3-13-1, and the Bears' final record sits at 3-14, which means that the Bears officially have the number 1 pick in the NFL 2023 draft. I can't really say that I'm super surprised that this happened, because if I'm not mistaken, the Texans quite literally won the last game one of the last games of the season. Was it last season? It was I believe it was 2 seasons ago. They won the last game, and they had, who won the last game? Because someone gave the Jaguars the number 1 pick. Was it the Jets? Yeah, I think it was the Jets that had won one of their games and gave the Jaguars the number 1 pick, and then they went on to pick Trevor Lawrence, and then the Jets settled for Zach Wilson. Yeah, that's how that went, I think. But yeah, the Bears have the number 1 pick now. The Texans have the number 2 pick, and yeah, that's all the Week 18. I forgot one more thing. The Steelers beat the Browns to finish the season 9-8, which means that once again, Mike Tomlin finishes the NFL season with a winning record. And so that's 16 straight seasons he's not had a losing record. That's got to be some sort of, I actually think it is some sort of record for any coach to not have a losing season after however many years. I mean, you look at some of the greatest coaches. Bill Belichick this season, he finished 8-9. So, like, hey, Mike Tomlin, yeah, very good coach. Very, very good coach. I'd love to have him coach my team if we didn't already have a pretty damn good coach ourselves. Moving on from NFL Week 18. Slightly moving on. We're going to talk about some of the people who got fired. So, Lovie Smith, he got fired like immediately after the Texans game, which is crazy. They didn't even wait till Monday to say like, hey, yeah, this guy's fired. Nah, they just fired him straight after the game. Can't say I expected him to be fired, especially seeing as this is the second one and done head coach that Houston has had in the past 2 seasons, which is like, you're not helping out anything. I don't know what they're trying to do as far as their rebuild, because clearly they're still in the earlier stages of the rebuild compared to other teams who started their rebuild at similar times. But yeah, Lovie Smith, he's been fired. It may have something to do with them winning the game in Week 18 against the Colts, but even still, that's a very improbable win that happened anyway. They converted a 4th and 20 for a touchdown, then went for the 2-point conversion, and just so happened to have got it. Did the 2-point conversion cost him his job? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't think that the Texans organization would be that willing to just fire a head coach. I mean, they are clearly, for the past 2 seasons have indicated that they are not above firing a first-year head coach. I don't think that he necessarily had anything. He didn't have any super talented guys around him to expect this roster to be any more than like a 5-win team at most. And they won 3 games and they tied 1 within the division. So I don't know. I don't even agree with the decision to fire Lovie Smith, but hey, he's fired. They're looking for a new head coach, and that's that. Speaking of a head coach that I do agree with being fired, Cliff Kingsbury was finally fired. I say finally. In my opinion, when the Cardinals had that really, really bad collapse where they started off with 8-0, and then they lost a week, and then I think they were 9-1 or something like that, or 8-1, and then they just kept losing, and then they were out the first round of the playoffs. That was when I would have fired Cliff Kingsbury. They gave him another shot. They gave him an extension, and 1 year into the extension, he's fired. So yeah, that's the Cliff Kingsbury experiment was cool. It was cool because, they had Kyler Murray, and all of a sudden they added DeAndre Hopkins out of nowhere. Then they added Marquise Brown, except, he got hurt this season. DeAndre Hopkins had to come off a suspension for using PEDs. Then Kyler Murray but Kyler Murray also got hurt late in the season. And so it's just a really bad look for the Cardinals towards the end of the season. And even coming into the season, I don't think people really put a set expectation on this team. No high expectations for sure, because we had just saw this team start off blazing hot and then cool off literally overnight. So yeah, I think that this is for the best. I don't even think Cliff Kingsbury was really ever really that good at his job. I think Kyler Murray was just good enough to where his job was being saved. There was like an article that came out where it was like Cliff Kingsbury doesn't feel he's received the necessary weapons to contend in the NFC West or in contend in the NFL in general. And I mean, if that was to be true, then they needed to step away from Cliff Kingsbury a few years ago and maybe just not even hire him. But yeah, that's that. Who else has been fired? NFL notification, breaking news, Titans offensive coordinator Todd Downing has been fired after 4 seasons with the team. He's been the offensive coordinator since 2021, but he's been with the team for 4 seasons, and he's now been fired. Yep, that just happened. Who else? Who else has been fired? We're talking about people that have been fired. Browns defensive coordinator Joe Woods. He's been fired after 3 years in Cleveland. I think that's very justified. People were talking about this Browns defense as if they were supposed to be like a top 10, 5-ish defense, and I don't really know if I don't think we got that at all during this season. Who did they just paid Greedy Williams a bunch of money. I don't know how he's been doing, but the Browns are 7-10. The offense has plummeted. I don't think their defense is really held up either. So definitely was time for a change in Cleveland. Is that everybody that's been fired? Yeah, that's everybody that's been fired. Cardinals GM, what's his name? Where is it? Cardinals GM Steve Keim. He hasn't been fired. He's stepping down to focus on his health. So, just would like to say to Steve Keim, if by any stretch of the imagination you somehow come across this podcast episode, I hope everything gets better, and I hope that, your health problems work themselves out and you get the adequate treatment, help, whatever that you need, so that you can, come back to being Cardinals GM, or if that's something that you choose to do. Hope everything goes well. Now, we done with regular season NFL. All the people that have been fired. Well, I don't know about that yet. That Titans OC just came in. The notification came in literally 15 minutes ago. So people could still get fired, but it's probably the last of who we're going to see get fired today. We're not talking about playoff. Damn it, I fucked it up. We're not talking about regular season football no more, because we're talking about playoff football. Yes, it's time. The playoffs are here. The playoff bracket has been finalized, and I'm going to read that off to you now. If I could, why does the NFL not just have the playoff bracket on their website? Whatever. As per usual with the new NFL playoff proceedings, the 1 seed will be the only team that gets the bye, and that will be the Chiefs in the AFC and the Eagles in the NFC, leaving every other team to match up on the newly coined, I say newly, but it was coined like this, I want to say 3 years ago. 2 years ago. Yeah, because all this started in 2020. So here are your Super Wildcard Weekend matchups. Wait, no, I'm on the NFL website, and I really wish that they would have the brackets just updated on the website. But no, I have to go back to the NFL Twitter and actually see where the matchups are and where the times are. And NFL, your website sucks. Please do something about that. It is not a good website, so please update that. Anyway, I've done enough stalling. Here are your Super Wildcard Weekend matchups. On Saturday, the first game of Super Wildcard Weekend is the Seattle Seahawks at San Francisco at 4:35 p.m. on Fox. Then following that up is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars, who clinched, I forgot to say this, they clinched the AFC South with the win over the Titans this week 18. I forgot to mention that. So those are the first two games on Saturday. Then on Sunday, we have the Miami Dolphins at Buffalo at 1:05 p.m. on CBS. The next game will be the New York Giants at Minnesota at 4:40 p.m. on Fox. And then the final game on Sunday will be my Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati at 8:15 on NBC. I still don't know if Lamar is going to play in that game. I'm going to assume he's not. That's damn. Moving on to the final game of Super Wildcard Weekend, it is the Dallas Cowboys at Tampa Bay at 8:15 p.m. on ESPN as well as ABC. I'm not going to give you guys my picks yet. I'm not going to give you my picks yet because I plan on recording on Friday. So you're going to get my picks for that Friday, right? Yeah, you're going to get my picks for that on Friday, and then, yeah, we'll go from there. But you will get my picks for the College Football National Championship, which is tonight. Yes, it is tonight. The College Football Championship, National Championship, whatever the fuck you want to call it, between TCU and the defending national champions, Georgia, is going to be held tonight. Now, I don't have a race in any college football team. I don't have a favorite college football team because truthfully, I didn't start watching college football till I got to college myself. And so, yeah, if you're going to ask me who I think is going to win this game, I don't think, I want TCU to win. Why do I want TCU to win? At this point, I'm rooting for any underdog ever in the college football playoff. This is going to be even more apparent when they expand the playoff to, I believe it was 12 teams, which was proposed. So yeah, I'm going to, I don't have a favorite college football team, so we rooting for the underdogs, baby. So today at 6:30, which is in 2 hours because I'm recording this at 4:30, I hope that TCU beats Georgia. Now, with that being said, I don't think that TCU is going to beat Georgia. I got Georgia winning this game. Can I give you a score? Nah, probably can't give you a score. But the big thing is on TCU's end. TCU's offense has been immaculate. Georgia's defense, we know, is immaculate. If TCU can expose Stetson Bennett, and I say expose loosely because it's not very much to be exposed. He got them to 2 national championships, and he's won 1 already. But if they can expose the weakness that is Stetson Bennett, then TCU will be in this game a lot more than people think. So hopefully, we get a really good game. I really don't want to see a blowout. We might see a blowout, though. But I hope not, because blowouts are no fun in final games. So, yeah. Go TCU, though. Go TCU. I want to make it clear. I'm rooting for the underdog in every college football playoff from here until the end of time. I don't have a favorite college football team. I don't. Illinois hasn't been good enough for me to ever watch their games and call myself a fan. So, yeah. Go TCU. I hope TCU wins this game. And I hope we get a pretty damn good game tonight. Moving on to the NBA talk, NBA stuff. Let's talk about LeBron. LeBron recently held an ESPN interview in which he didn't say a lot. I don't think he actually said anything of like meaningful value, but what is of note that came out was LeBron after hold on, I have to find it because it was on Twitter. And hold on. So the actual ESPN interview that he did with ESPN that played on TV wasn't really a lot going on in that. But I think it came out like a few hours later or even a day after that LeBron had held another sit down, or I believe this was also a part of the ESPN sit down in which, you know, they were asking him questions about, hey, what do you think that the Lakers front office needs to do in order to, you know, make this team a contender? And LeBron, he didn't, you know, he did his LeBron thing. He didn't give a very specific answer. You know, he was doing the speak without speaking thing, and I mean, it's actually, you know, it's what a LeBron type player is gonna do. He's not gonna speak too much about how his front office is doing, but during the interview, it was clear that he was attempting to put the pressure on the Lakers front office. I want to correct myself. This was to The Athletic. This was not the ESPN interview. So yeah, The Athletic held an interview with LeBron, and you know, during that, you know, he was saying what he needed to say, and then after the interview, they said that he had walked off, and then he'd said one more time, and I quote, "Y'all know what the fuck should be happening," to the person who was interviewing him. LeBron responded on Twitter and said, "Hey Sam," well, that's the person that made the tweet that I was referencing. "Hey Sam, my patience isn't waning. You make it sound like I'm frustrated when I'm really not. I told you over and over, my job is focused on the guys in the locker room. My job isn't the roster. That's the reality of the conversation, and I said what I said." Now, what does this mean? If you're not stupid, this means that LeBron is really tired of playing with fucking bums. He's tired of playing with bums. He's tired of this team being very mediocre when they should not be. And at the end of the day, that's no fault of his own. That is the fault of the front office. How is that the fault of the front office? Well, off the heels of a championship, a shortened offseason, and then them making the playoffs and being eliminated in the first round, they disposed of damn near everything that made the core of LeBron and Anthony Davis, that made them a championship team. They destroyed everything. They got rid of Alex Caruso, who didn't play meaningful minutes, but with that contract extension and what we see he's been doing on the Bulls, he would have played meaningful minutes last season and this season. They got rid of Kyle Kuzma. They traded him away in a move that, well, we'll get to that. KCP, I believe he went along with Kuzma in the who trade, and then it was just a bunch of other shit. They kept Taylor Horton Tucker because they thought he would develop into some sort of star. I don't know. And then of course they signed Russell Westbrook and like 6 players for player minimums, and they thought that was gonna get them to a championship. I don't know how the fuck they thought that was gonna get them to a championship, but it did, but they did, excuse me. And yeah, so in my opinion, LeBron is absolutely correct, and he's in his right mind to apply a little bit or apply as much pressure as he needs to this Lakers organization. The only thing is, LeBron just recently signed a contract extension with the Lakers. So whatever leverage he had, and I believe the contract extension that he signed, his current contract isn't up. It would have been up this offseason, but he signed it early, I guess, off the promises from the front office that, hey, we'd get this team to a contender, you'll be playing for a championship soon, shit like that. So yeah, he signed that last, I think it was last offseason he signed that, and now, however many months removed, the Lakers are in the 12th seed. Granted, the West is really close, and they could very much easily go on a 4 or 5 game win streak. I think they're on a win streak right now, but they could go on a 4 or 5 game win streak, and hey, they might be 10 seed, and 2 games later they might be back down to 12. But I just think it's so interesting that this Lakers front office has absolutely shit the bed when it comes to putting pieces around LeBron that can build this championship team. They did a great thing when they signed Anthony Davis, and then it just so happened that the pieces that they gave up for Anthony Davis and the pieces that they retained from the Anthony Davis trade was enough to get them a championship. And then they gave it all away, and so now they have to rebuild a championship contending roster. Not only that, they still have to deal with injuries to Anthony Davis, and they have to deal with a LeBron who is, rightfully so, pissed that this team is a fucking 12th seed. Hey man, I could talk about the misdeeds of the Lakers front office in these past few years ad nauseum, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to talk about LeBron and how he is 422 points away from breaking the all-time scoring record. LeBron, over his last 7 games, has been averaging 35 points per game. He should break the record within the 18-25 game range. Hopefully, he does it either at Staples Center or like MSG. If we look at some of the Lakers, we look at the Lakers schedule, right? They play today. They play the Nuggets today. Ooh, that should be a game that I'm going to watch. Yeah, I'm going to watch that game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So They play so this is around when I think feasibly the record could be broken, around February, March. February 23rd, they're at home against the Warriors. So that's a game that they could win. Where else? I'm trying to see if there are any more notable places that they could win. No, I'm not seeing any. They don't play the Knicks anytime during they play the Knicks. Nope, they're at home. They play the Knicks March 12th, but they're at home. They don't play the Cavs anytime within this span. Yeah, I really hope he breaks it at home and not at like fucking, I don't even know what the Oklahoma City. Oh, it's Paycom Center. Yeah, they play Oklahoma City March 1st at Paycom Center. I really hope LeBron doesn't break the all-time scoring record at Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. No disrespect to Oklahoma City, but that's not what we want. They got a 5-game homestand between March 3rd and March 12th, at which LeBron could break the record. Hopefully he does it either at home or like, I don't know. February 11th, that's really close to January 9th. So I don't know if he'll have enough games to break the record then. But where was it? February 11th, they play at Chase Center. Yeah, I'm not seeing any notable arenas where he could break it besides Staples Center. March 29th, he plays at United Center, which is cool, but even still, like, and even that March 29th, he'll probably already have the record. So, yeah, I don't know, but hopefully he just breaks it at home, because they don't play the Knicks, or excuse me, they do play the Knicks, but they play on January 31st, and that's way too close to today's date for him to have meaningful time to actually come close to and break the record. So yeah, hopefully he breaks it at home. I don't want to see him break it at like Paycom Arena or in Indianapolis of all places, but hey, wherever he breaks it, I'm sure that him breaking the record will mean more to him than doing it in front of home fans. I'm sure that getting the record in general means a whole lot more to him than that. Now, we about 30 minutes into this episode. I still got a few more things I want to talk about. Kevin Durant is out for an undisclosed amount of time with an MCL sprain. He is to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. If you are wondering if this is the same MCL sprain that he had last season, yes, it is. Nets doctors have said that hopefully it is not as severe as the one that kept him out for 6 weeks last season. But again, this all but just as it did last season, this is probably going to all but shut his MVP campaign down. You don't really see players winning MVPs and missing substantial time, especially with it just having to be reevaluated in 2 weeks and not like he's going to be out for 2 weeks and then back on the court. So that's really unfortunate. Really, really sucks to see Kevin Durant have such shitty injury luck in the later stages of his career, because it really feels like we're missing out on some of the basketball that he has played in, his career. This stretch of basketball that he's played to start the season to now, he's been phenomenal. And it's just another unfortunate circumstance of, hey, this guy was great, and now he's injured, and now we're going to have to wait for him to come back. And it sucks. It really, really does suck. But hopefully Kevin Durant, we saw him come back from that Achilles injury. We saw him come back from this exact same injury last season. Hopefully he can come back twice as stronger than ever. Boom. Now, let's do a little bit of around the association before I wrap this episode up. Now, in the Eastern Conference, the 1 seed is the Boston Celtics. The 2 seed is the Brooklyn Nets, who, might I add, the Bulls, who are the 9th seed, they broke that 12-game win streak that they had. So shout out to us. And the 3 seed is the Bucks. Those are the top 3 In the East, I do think that the Nets will slip maybe out of the top 3, potentially even out of the top 4 because they are so close. With Kevin Durant out, I do think that Kyrie, because he's been playing very, very well alongside KD in these past 3 weeks or so. I think that Kyrie and Ben Simmons will be enough to hold off a bunch of the competition that they have coming up. But obviously, there's a KD size hole in the starting lineup, and they're going to miss him. So after KD comes back, I predict this team maybe be in the 4 seed. The Bucks are still a 3 seed, even though they do have some questions on whether this team is actually good. A lot of people have brought up the fact that, this team does not look anywhere near close to championship contender. I would like to say that, everybody just hold your horses a little bit. Drew Holiday, I think he's been out recently. Chris Middleton, he did come back from his ACL tear, but there's now an ankle problem that he's having. So everyone just calm down. The Bucks are still a good team. They still have Giannis. So I don't think there's any reason to press the panic button. And then the Celtics are the best team in the league record-wise with a 28-12 record. 6-4 in their last 10. Not hot, but they play the Bulls today. And so if they beat us today, they'll be on a 3-game win streak. I see no slowing down in the Celtics. They had a bit of a hiccup where their team forgot how to shoot, but everything after that, they've been fine. They've maintained their 1 seed, and I think that they're going to maintain their 1 seed probably through the All-Star break, but who knows? Moving on to the Western Conference, the 1, 2, and 3 seeds are as follows. The Denver Nuggets are tied for 1 with the Grizzlies, although the Denver Nuggets are the 1 seed. The Memphis Grizzlies are the 2 seed, and the New Orleans Pelicans are the 3 seed. The Western Conference is actually very, very close. Ooh. Everyone else is 2.5 games behind the Nuggets and the Grizzlies. The Pelicans are, and then everyone else is behind them. The 4 through 8 are within 3 games of each other. 4 through 10, because they're all 7 games behind. 8, 9, and 10 are 3 games behind the 4 seed. The 11th seed, which the Lakers, are half a game behind them, and the Jazz are half a game behind the Lakers, and the Thunder are half a game behind them. But I think they're too far out of the race to count right now. What can I say about the Nuggets? This Nuggets team is going to go into the postseason, and I don't think people are ready for what we about to witness. Bro, Jokic is playing his ass off. I don't think he's going to slow down during the playoffs, and God help everybody in the Western Conference, because that team looks really, really good. Their offense, really, really damn good. Their defense could be questionable sometimes, but I think that it's solid enough to where this team come playoff time is going to be a major threat to win the NBA Finals. Actually, I think that this team can go the distance. If you ask me right now, my finals matchup will be the Denver Nuggets versus the Boston Celtics. Yes, that is both of the 1 seeds, but they've been playing like 1 seeds, and they're 1 seeds for a reason. Moving on to the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, I feel conflicted about the Grizzlies because I don't think they're nearly as good as the Denver Nuggets, though their record definitely says that they are. Here's the thing with the Grizzlies. They have been working under a lot of their players being injured. I believe that they have only had maybe a handful of games where John Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. have played this season. I think up until a few games ago, Desmond Bane was actually out. So they've been working without them. They're on a 6-game win streak. And if you don't recall, I was saying hey, this team's saying they're good in the West and they go on to lose however many of their games. Well, they just beat the Jazz. They beat the Grizzlies. And then they beat the Pelicans right after I said that, hey, this team, you might want to slow it down on the shit talk. But hey, this team is a good team. I don't want to understate that. This is a very good team. I just don't know if it I don't know where they will stand when it comes time for the playoffs. I don't know how I'll feel about them. I don't know if I will. I know for a fact now that they're not better than the Nuggets, but I don't know. The Western Conference is really weird to gauge right now. I think the clear best team in the West is the Nuggets, and then everybody else is second place to them. Moving on to the third seed is the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't know how they're still the third seed. They've been working without Brandon Ingram and Zion for some time now. But, hey, this is a good young team. I think they're probably going to taper off just a little bit until both B.I. and Zion come back. But, hey, the West is just, like, shaky enough so that they might just hold on to that 3 seed for however long, and then they get Brandon Ingram and Zion back, and then now they're 2 seed, potentially even a 1 seed. I don't know. I gotta watch more Pelicans games, truthfully. But this is a very good young team. As with the Grizzlies, I think they might be younger. I think they are younger than the Grizzlies, actually. Wait, are they? They might be. I don't know that for sure. But yeah, don't really got too much to say about the Pelicans. Good team, 3rd seed. Not who I would have expected to be a 3rd seed this deep into the season. We approaching All-Star break territory now, and after All-Star break, the season moves quickly, and before you know it, we in the postseason. So, hey, keep an eye out on this young Grizzlies team and this even younger, I think, Pelicans team, because they're not to be trifled with. Let's before we end this episode, let's just recap who's in the playoffs and playing race for both conferences. Going back to the Eastern Conference, the 4 seed is the Cavaliers, the 5 seed is the Philadelphia 76ers, the 6 seed, surprisingly, is the Indiana Pacers, the 7th seed is the New York Knicks, the 8th seed is the Miami Heat, the 9th seed is the Chicago Bulls, the 10th seed is the Atlanta Hawks, 11-12 Wizards Raptors, 13-14 Magic Hornets, 15 Pistons. Going back, the 4 seed is the Mavericks in the Western Conference. 5 seed, again, surprisingly, is the Kings. 6 seed, now I want you to keep in mind, this team was like 12 when Steph Curry got hurt. The Warriors are 500 and are the 6th seed. Keep that in mind. Steph is not out there. So, hey, that's all I'm gonna say. 7th seed is the Clippers. 8th seed is the Suns. Man, have they fallen. They were like a top 4 seed like 2 weeks ago. 9th seed is the Timberwolves. 10th seed is the Trailblazers. 11th seed is the Lakers. 12-13 Jazz Thunder. 14 Spurs. And the worst team in the league is the Rockets. Yes, they are the worst team in the league. They're sporting a pretty damn cool 10-30 record. That's a .25 win percentage, by the way. That's fucking terrible. I don't got no more, man. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Four Verticals podcast. Shout out y'all for staying here with me for this 40-minute episode. Before I end it, I just want to say one more thing. Go Horned Frogs, and